Okay, so this is my personal review of my first session of hypnotherapy for my back. And I started the session with a 5 out of 10 pain, um, zinging and numbness down the back of my left leg and only on one side. So improvement from both sides since the initial day of when this happened, and no weakness at all. And most of my pain was in my lower back, right across my tailbone, just kind of achy and grindy. After this, and most importantly, besides the pain, functionally, I couldn't really sit for more than a couple of minutes. No sports, very limited working out. I've just been doing mostly rehab-based movements. And after the hypnotherapy session, my pain had dropped to a 2 out of 10, and functionally no change so far. Again, that was my first session, so only one. And my biggest takeaway though was being in gymnastics my whole life. We learn really easily and quick. No, take that back. Take that back. We begin to make it easy, but it took a long time. And I think I started learning this literally when I was 3. Was when something hurts, the way to get over it is to push harder, right? You can make it through this mountain through the other side. It's going to be a climb, but just keep grinding and you get there. Which, while I think that sort of strong will and stubbornness and perseverance has really helped me throughout my whole life, and is a lesson that you learn when you do a sport like gymnastics, where you're doing flips and tricks that could literally paralyze you. And it requires so much attention and focus. There's beautiful things you learn out of that, but learning to always push through your pain is not always the best. So since I had this initial injury on Christmas Day, I was off of work for 2 weeks, trying to get to where I could tolerate standing for more than 5 minutes, so I could go back to work. So my whole mentality was, how the heck do I get rid of this pain? Like, I need to not feel this, because pretty soon I'm running out of time off and I've got to be able to stand there and treat my patients as a physical therapist. There was a moment in the session where I was like, wow, I haven't really sat with my pain. Like, since the injury and trying to go back to work, and it's been, almost 10 weeks now, I've literally just been like, one, I don't want to be in pain, because I want to be able to put my shoes on without like wanting to wear sliders, because it's so hard to freaking get to my feet right now. And I want to go back to teaching yoga, and like, it's really cloudy here in Santa Cruz, but when it's sunny, I want to get back in the water and surf. So like, let's get this better. Let's do this. Let's strap up our bootstraps. And I didn't take the time to be like, wow, this really hurts. And to sit with us and be like, man, beyond it hurting, my foot actually is really numb and it's zinging and radiating down my butt. And like, wow, my tailbone is like, I can feel it grinding almost, is how it felt and feels to me at times. And as I was being guided through the session, I like experienced that, and I sat with it and I was able to be with it, versus kind of getting a glimpse of it and being like, oh, no, 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 we don't want that, push that away. And it was, I really feel like me just acknowledging and responding to my pain was what helped bring it down from like a 5 out of 10 to a 2 out of 10. And yeah, maybe that's only a couple degrees, but when you've been in chronic pain, and I know there's a ton of people out there who have been in chronic pain, when you've been in pain for that long, bringing it down any amount is huge. It not only helps pain-wise, but it helps function-wise. It helps with moving around without like having to take breaks all the time. So that was just one session for me. This is my experience. Again, there's so many variables that goes into how you will respond to it. But I plan to do another one, and I will continue to share my experiences, and maybe it goes into the void, maybe not, and maybe it helps someone else out there. That was my first experience with hypnotherapy. If you end up trying hypnotherapy, I would love to hear about your experience and what worked for you and what doesn't, and what you're personally dealing with. I think there's a lot of power in shared experience, and I'm happy to share my experience.